Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Anthony Joshua, one of my favorite fighters. However, let's just be real. He's had 2 defeats to Usyk. He's had 2 coaches fired. He's had 2 years of, let's just call it what it is, inactivity. He had 2 years without a win, 2 big fights that haven't been made. And right now, look, I believe he's in too deep to rebound. And I'm not sure what can be done, man. Not being able to secure big fights, I don't think it's his choice. I think Eddie Hearn has a lot to do with that because Anthony Joshua, he can't afford another setback. And fighting a guy like Tyson Fury or a dangerous puncher like Deontay Wilder is just too high of a risk. And although Anthony Joshua, look, man, he wears his pride on his sleeve, but, he has Eddie Hearn and he has smart people around him who aren't going to let him go into a situation that would further exacerbate the downward spiral that he's already in. So now in 2023, the question is, is he going to be able to breathe life back into his career? Because it's make or break it for him, and it's just amazing how fast a boxing career can come to a halt. Now, I didn't say to an end. I'm just saying to a halt. Because with Anthony Joshua, he still has a lot of life in him. He has a lot of gas in the tank, but his boxing career is on halt. Let's just be real, okay? His last win came against Kubrat Pulev in December of 2020. Now, for those of you who watched that fight, you probably said to yourself like me, wow, it looked like AJ displayed some patience, and then he got Pulev out of there. And I'm going to tell you right now, out of all the fighters in the heavyweight division, in my opinion, Anthony Joshua, when he puts his punches together, because he's so fast, he's so technically skilled, and he's so powerful. When he puts his punches together, it's like a thing of beauty. Like a thing of beauty. It flows like water. Now, we're not talking about the one-hitter quitter like Wilder. We're not talking about Fury with his herky-jerky style and grab and hold and, the stuff Fury does. But I'm talking about just flowing like water in the ring, punches, just letting your hands go instinctively, and just the type of combinations that are being thrown for a man, AJ, who's 6'7", 240 plus pounds. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty. But the problem with that is he clipped Pulev, and then he came and got in there with the damn Ukrainian master, Alexander Usyk, who upset the apple cart twice. And in those 2 fights, I don't think Anthony Joshua should have lost. Unfortunately, now he's without his belts. He's without a lot of confidence. He doesn't have a coach. Okay? So he's trying to figure out what to do. And let me tell you, 2023, the Deontay Wilder fight that he says he wants, the Tyson Fury fight that he says he wants, those 2 fights, maybe he can get one at the end of 2023. But early 23, the middle of 23, he's not going to be fighting those killers. I'm telling you that right now. He needs, you've heard Keith Thurman talk about needing a get-back year, needing his get-back, right? Look, Anthony Joshua, more so than what Keith Thurman needed coming off of being inactive, Anthony Joshua really needs the whole of 2023 to be his get-back year. Because despite his back-to-back defeats to Alexander Usyk, look, Anthony Joshua is one of boxing's, but in particular Britain's, most prevalent sports stars, okay? But we can talk boxing as a whole if we're talking about one of the more prevalent or maybe the most prevalent sports stars, right? Now, when we talk about guys like Anthony Joshua, you just don't see many boxers out there right now, like Terrence Crawford, even Earl Spence and some of the other big names, okay? Even Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, those guys are heavyweights. But when you're talking about guys being on posters, doing interviews with certain magazines, guys having partnerships with different brands. You know, I mean, Anthony Joshua, if he wanted, I think he could surpass Shaquille O'Neal as far as different endorsement deals and different business relationships he can actually forge. He has quite a bit right now. And no one is really doing it like Anthony Joshua. So there's a lot to work with AJ. But the problem is when you're not winning in boxing, people tend to kind of turn their backs on you. Okay? Now, Joshua needs to come back in 2023 to really get things back on course. And he needs a big win. And he needs a big win against, at this point, anybody, but hopefully someone with a name. So there's a long list of names that are being tossed around. Not going to be the people who we want to see him fight, but there's some names out there. But at the same time, a guy like Dillian White, who's a big name, who seems to be in the running. Jermaine Franklin, another name who seems to be in the running, right? Those are Eddie Hearn's words. So when Joshua returns early next year, yeah, we want to see him win, but don't just throw him into with Jermaine Franklin. I like Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin can fight. But let's be real. He's not beating Anthony Joshua. Dillian White. Come on. Let's not take it as stupid. He's not beating Anthony Joshua. So, you know, you want him to come and maybe he can take a fight like that to get his confidence back. But really, he can't go and beat a guy like that and decide he wants to jump in the ring with Wilder or Fury. He needs to get in there with somebody that can make him uncomfortable again and see what he does. But the problem with that is it doesn't matter who Anthony Joshua gets in the ring with. If he wants to be victorious, right? He's got to figure out what he's doing because he sacked 2 coaches and now he's on a U.S. tour again to find a new one, to hire a new coach. I mean, come on. He fired a coach, hired a new one to fight Usyk in the rematch, and then lost. Fired that coach. Now he's out here again looking for another coach. Look, you can't keep blaming the coach because Robert Garcia is an amazing coach. He's an offensive-minded coach. And what he had Anthony Joshua doing was some good stuff. But Robert Garcia did kind of fail him in the area of not being honest with him during the fight. He was telling Anthony Joshua he was winning the fight when Anthony Joshua was not winning that fight, or the rounds were very, very close. So as a result, finger pointing starts. Robert Garcia, and this is the part that's frustrating, you know. Nobody wants to take the blame. Robert Garcia doesn't want it to look like it was his fault Anthony Joshua didn't win. Anthony Joshua doesn't want to own it and say it was his fault that he didn't win. So the finger pointing ensues. And now you got it to where Anthony Joshua is almost coming. What Anthony Joshua has become, he's become a host. And what I mean by a host is not the host of a TV show. He's become the host to what are a whole bunch of parasites that want to latch on to him. And I'm just being honest. These guys who are talking about they can help him, who say they want to coach him, they can't get the best out of him, and I don't think they can train him. I think they see this as an opportunity because of the kind of money Joshua brings. To one is to, like Robert Garcia said, get an easy fight with him, make them look good as a coach, and then for Anthony Joshua to look good as well. And then maybe in turn, that helps for their career to blossom as coaches, and they can attract more clientele. But that's not cool, okay? Not at all. But when you think about a guy like Roy Jones was probably, arguably the best boxer ever, okay? Most athletic boxer ever, okay? So that's always up for debate, but there are a lot of people who are going to agree with that sentiment. But I don't think Roy Jones should be coaching Anthony Joshua. It's just the styles don't fit. There are too many cultural differences. Plus, Roy Jones is going to want him to come down to country-ass Pensacola, and once Anthony Joshua gets bit by some of those mosquitoes, he's going to haul his ass back there to London. Okay? The next thing, Anthony Joshua was talking about Virgil Hunter. If you guys know who Virgil Hunter is, he was the guy who was coaching Amir Khan and Coach Andre Son of God Ward. Virgil Hill is not going to be a good coach for anybody with this whisper and stuff that he does. Okay, so let's just erase Virgil Hill from the picture. Anthony Joshua down there with Derrick James. That's a good fit, but Anthony Joshua seems like he doesn't want that. Anthony Joshua with Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach has gone on record several times in the last few years saying he'd love to have Anthony Joshua, but it doesn't seem like Anthony Joshua has Freddie Roach on his radar. So now Anthony Joshua's out here. No coach has been selected. And I'm sitting here saying, damn, why don't he just get back with Robert McCracken? That's what really needs to happen. Take a deep breath, blow it out. Hey, look, I apologize. Let's get back to business. Robert McCracken got him to where he was. You can't come and fire Robert McCracken, now fire another coach, and now you're looking to pick up someone else. That's not the answer. So what makes it even worse is you have Buddy McGirt. Listen, I don't like Buddy McGirt as a trainer. I don't. The Arturo Gatti era is over for Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt's not bringing the best out of anyone. Y'all, now I'm going to tell you, Dillian White, whether you like him or not, right? When Dillian White gets in a fight, you know he has something special in that left hand. Every fight Dillian White's been in, you've seen something special with that left hand. Dillian White's won fights he wasn't supposed to win because Dillian White, he just doesn't look put together when he's in the ring. But there's something special about that left hand. Just like there was something special about Miguel Cotto's left hand, something special about Felix Trinidad's left hook, something special about Oscar De La Hoya's left hand, and definitely something special by the Mr. Death by 1,000 straight left hands, Manny Pacquiao. But when you get in a fight with an opponent that you should blast out of there, talking about Jermaine Franklin and Dillian White, and you can't even really damage him, but you can come and knock out Lucas Brown, you can knock out Chisora, you can damn near knock out Joseph Parker. You almost knocked out Anthony Joshua, but you struggle with Jermaine Franklin. So you got to say, well, why? It's the damn coach. So now Buddy McGirt's trying to get his hands on Anthony Joshua. And I pray Anthony Joshua doesn't make that mistake. Now, if you guys think Anthony Joshua is too cautious right now, see, because what we need is Joshua's on the front foot, being aggressive. That's why I say I think it should be with Roach or be with Derrick James. If not, just go back to Robert McCracken. But for those of you who are saying, maybe he should be a little cautious and be a smart fighter, well, then maybe Virgil Hunter is the fit for him. But Buddy McGirt is not the fit for Anthony Joshua. So if you don't want to see Anthony Joshua being super cautious, super scary, then you definitely don't want him being with Buddy McGirt. A big man like that needs to get in the ring and be big, powerful, and blast guys out. They don't belong in there with them. Only a Tyson Fury and a Deontay Wilder, those guys belong in the ring with them. And those are the guys where you can see Anthony Joshua not being able to just get in there and just blast them out like he's going to be in a fight. But anyone else, he should be blasting them out the ring. And I just don't think Buddy McGirt's going to bring that to him. So we'll see what happens as far as him and this U.S. tour and what coach he's going to grow comfortable with and decides that this is the coach that's going to help me put on a career best performance against my next challenge. Because 2 years without a win is a huge foul. Huge, huge foul, man. You're talking about doom and gloom. And that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. And that's what it is for right now, not having a coach, right now going into his next fight, and right now, his career. And that's what it is with Anthony Joshua. I mean, you watch him, man, throwing belts out the ring, getting on the microphone, ranting and raving. Look, that was probably the highlight of Anthony Joshua's career, and it wasn't a positive highlight. But I'm not going to say he's washed up or finished, right? I'm not going to say that. Broken? I will say that he's broken. I will say that. But the man is an Olympic gold medalist. He, for the most part, has put British boxing on his back. He turned pro in 2013. Ever since he turned pro, everything when you think about British boxing has been Anthony Joshua. Then Tyson Fury has, kind of reemerged in the last few years of those big fights with Deontay Wilder. But it's been Anthony Joshua. And right now, it's kind of Tyson Fury. But he's still a top dog, man. And he needs to, he right now needs to figure out what he's going to do. Because Eddie Hearn, look, Anthony Joshua and DAZN, such a huge deal was on the table for Anthony Joshua. He was supposed to be fighting about 3 times a year. You know, they just haven't quite gotten there, man. You know? Right now, they're trying to figure out what he's doing next year. That deal that he was supposed to sign was supposed to be for the rest of his career, which he's going on record now saying he doesn't have much longer left in boxing. When you start hearing boxers talk like that, that is a sign that they've already kind of mentally checked out. You're an active fighter, but you're already talking about you don't have much longer left in boxing. So what's your exit strategy? Because I think his exit strategy was that plan that he had agreed to with DAZN. That agreement was a $1 billion deal. $1 billion deal for several fights a year over a certain amount of time. Kind of like what Mayweather did, you know? But it's just not working out as planned because there were some contingencies in that contract. And from my understanding, now I haven't seen the contract. You know how it is when you read something on the damn internet. You'll have 5 different articles. 4 of them will say one thing, but then there'll be another one that says something that contradicts that. And if you just happen to pull up that one article and run with it, well, you're spreading false news. So I don't know what to believe. But what I will tell you is my understanding from the articles I've read is that contract that he signed for that $1 billion multi-year deal with DAZN, where he's supposed to be fighting about 3 times a year, there were some contingencies in there saying, as far as the purses that he would receive, a lot of that was contingent on him remaining the champion, which we know he's not. And that's why there's so much of a panic with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, because they need him to get at least 1 belt. Because without that belt, there's no leverage. And those belts, like I always say, in boxing, having titles, those are like certifications. Okay, and certifications mean that, you know, you get paid a little bit more than the guy who can do the same job but doesn't have those certifications. Okay, and that's what those belts mean to AJ and especially Eddie Hearn. But they got to figure out who the coach is going to be, and I don't think Roy Jones is the guy, even though he's really trying to get a foot in the door. But when it comes to the opponent he's going to face, look, Dillian White. Maybe that's all right, but he's not going to get much credit for that, and he's going to give him a false sense of security and false sense of confidence because Dillian White's not going to give him the challenge he needs. Otto Wallen may be too much for Anthony Joshua. Look at what he did with Tyson Fury. Zhang Zhili, hey, look, first 8 rounds, Zhang Zhili, he's got a good chance to beat Joshua. I'm just going to be honest with you. I like Zhang Zhili, so you guys may not like him. Y'all may say I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but that fighter, that's the Chinese fighter, southpaw. That's a big, strong man with some heavy hands. I'm telling you, and he's going to hit Joshua. That left hand stance, y'all didn't see what the hell Usyk was doing, and Usyk's way smaller than Joshua. Jalil Zhang is the same damn height, probably stronger. So I just don't think that's a fight they need to make. Flip Hrgovic can be a good fight. But all in all, these are all matchups that Joshua, should be expected to win. But I'm just telling you, from a guy who follows boxing, I'm not sure. Out of Dillian White, Otto Wallen, Zhang Zhili, and Flip Hrgovic, the one that gives him the biggest problem to me is Zhang Zhili. Second, probably Otto Wallen. And I'm just being honest with you, man. But, hey, if he beats those guys, look, he's back in business. But if he was to lose, boy, that probably spell the end for Anthony Joshua. Because you can't have guys like Zhang Zhili, although we know that they're great fighters, people don't really know them like that. Flip Hrgovic, Otto Wallen, Dillian, you can't have those guys come and beat Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is supposed to come in and just, obliterate these guys. Now, if he fought Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury and lost, that's totally different. People know that's really a 50-50 fight. So it doesn't really hurt his career. But losing to those other guys who are like B-level, C-level fighters, it devastates his career. And I think that may push Eddie Hearn to go out there and grab a bottle of rat poison and take it to the head. And I'm just being honest with you, because Eddie Hearn, that man will lose his mind if Anthony Joshua lost again. But anyway, although we got to see who he's going to fight. I think those names we just listed would be good fights for Anthony Joshua. So we'll see what he's going to do without his titles. I guess the good thing is he doesn't have a lot of pressure on his shoulders anymore. So he can breathe a little bit. Doesn't have to fight all these mandatories and have people saying that he's ducking people. You know, there's only so much you can pay in step-aside fees, and at the same time, there's only so much money you want to pay in sanctioning fees. And when you look at the millions he's paid in sanctioning fees, now he doesn't have any belts, and those sanctioned bodies could care less about Anthony Joshua. If he was Canelo, I'm sure he would have found himself back in a position to fight for some kind of interim title or a belt. They would have hooked him up, but, you know, he's not Canelo, so it is what it is. But we'll see. It's unlikely he's going to be getting there with Fury or Wilder, like I said. But, man, if Fury could get in there and beat Usyk and pick up that WBA, WBO, IBF, those 3 titles, and then have his become undisputed and then go into a fight with Anthony Joshua, that's a fight I think he should take. But regardless, I don't know. He got to build a relationship with a new coach. Look, and you got to figure out, they got to feel each other out and just build some momentum and kind of see how things are going. And I just don't think Anthony Joshua should be trying to build momentum with a new coach going into a fight with any of these fighters, but especially a damn Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. Even Zhang Zhili, you just don't want to be with a coach where the trust isn't really there. And he's telling you to do something, and you're going there seeing that maybe that's what he's asking me to do is not something that I'm seeing I can execute, and you see something different, and now you're conflicted. While you're in there thinking, you get bing, 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 and your ass gets knocked out cold. So I think for Anthony Joshua, for him trying to build some momentum with a new coach in 2023, even though they keep saying the end of the year could be Wilder or Fury, I don't think so. I think he needs to build momentum across 3-4 fights. And 2024, we may see him get in there and fight for a title. So I think Joshua has a whole of 2023, which I'm going to call it a dead year. And what I mean by that is he's just getting his confidence back, getting a good feel with his coach, and trying to get ready to get back in a position, man, where he can become beltless. Because right now he's coachless and beltless and winless. So he needs to figure that out. But first things first, getting a coach, getting a win, and then trying to get a belt. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. I like Anthony Joshua. Right now I think he's in too deep to rebound. And it doesn't matter who he picks. If it's not Robert McCracken, I don't think Anthony Joshua is going to do well. You just can't keep bouncing around. You just can't. No one knows Anthony Joshua like Robert McCracken. And Eddie Hearn, I do believe Eddie Hearn cares about him. I believe they're buddies. But Eddie Hearn is all about business. Eddie Hearn's not going to let his dad's business go under for any boxer. Okay? He's just not going to do that. But that being said, y'all keep cool. Anthony Joshua get it together. I want to see this man win. I want to see all these boxers win. But it just doesn't look that promising right now. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.